A mysterious ghost train ride at an eerie carnival. But this is no ordinary ride. 5 unsuspecting passengers board, thinking it's just another haunted attraction, until the tunnel swallows them whole. One by one, they vanish, dragged into a nightmare beyond our world. What lies at the end of the track? Where do the lost souls go? This is not just a ride. It's a one-way trip to terror. Watch this gripping horror story until the end, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you dare. Because once you enter the last ride, there's no turning back. The Holloway Carnival arrived once a year, always in the dead of autumn when the leaves curled like burnt paper and the nights stretched longer than they should. There was something off about it. Whispers of missing persons, of rides that weren't on the map, of people who entered attractions and never came back. The carnival workers, eerie figures with hollow eyes and smiles that never reached them, dismissed the rumors with a chuckle. Just stories, they'd say. But the locals knew better. That night, under a swollen, blood-red moon, the ghost train ride stood at the very edge of the fairground. Its rusting metal tracks twisted through darkness, vanishing into a gaping tunnel shaped like a screaming mouth. Above it, a neon sign buzzed weakly. The last ride, a journey beyond. 5 strangers stepped up. The ride operator, an impossibly thin man with waxy skin, stepped forward. His yellow teeth showed as he grinned. His eyes, 2 sunken pits, never blinked. No refunds, he rasped as he pulled the lever. The carts jerked forward, the iron rails groaning beneath them. The 5 strangers disappeared into the tunnel, swallowed whole. At first, it was what they expected. Dim, flickering bulbs revealed cheap mannequins dressed as ghouls. Cobwebs dangled from the ceiling. A skeleton popped out of the shadows, jaw clattering. Mark scoffed. Lame. Then the ride sped up. The tunnel twisted unnaturally, the tracks suddenly plunging downward at a sharp, impossible angle. The wind howled around them, a sound so deep it rattled their bones. The mannequins were gone. The walls weren't plywood anymore. They were moving. Veins pulsed beneath a fleshy surface, oozing something thick and black. The air reeked of decay. The lights flickered. When they came back on, Ethan was gone. His cart sat empty, the safety bar still locked in place. Where did he go? Lydia stammered. Jacob twisted in his seat, eyes wide. He was just here. Then the sound came, a wet, slithering noise, like something massive shifting in the darkness ahead. The ride kept going, faster now, as if the tracks were alive. A shape loomed in the distance. At first, it looked like a massive marionette dangling from the ceiling. Then it twitched. Its head turned. A pale, bloated thing with empty black eyes. Its jaw unhinged with a sickening pop. It dropped. Grace screamed as the figure landed on her cart. It had too many fingers, long and thin, stretching toward her. She thrashed, trying to shove it away. Then the lights flickered, and Grace was gone. Her seat was empty, her safety bar still locked. Jacob was hyperventilating. This isn't real. This isn't real. The ride plunged into deeper blackness. The shadows moved around them now, whispering, laughing. A child's voice echoed from the darkness. Come play with us. A giggle. Then something grabbed Jacob's leg. He screamed. Mark and Lydia watched, frozen in horror, as an unseen force yanked him into the darkness. His fingers clawed at the cart, but the shadows swallowed him whole. Lydia sobbed. Stop the ride. Stop the ride. Mark pounded the safety bar. Help! Somebody! No one heard them. They were too far gone. The ride finally slowed, but the tunnel ahead didn't lead back to the fairground. It led to another world. The walls pulsed like breathing flesh, the air thick with a metallic, bloody scent. The tracks extended into a vast, colorless void beneath a sky that swirled like black ink. Mark and Lydia sat frozen. Ahead of them stood the missing passengers, Ethan, Grace, and Jacob, but they weren't right. Their faces were stretched into twisted, silent screams, their eyes black pits. They stood motionless, mouths unnaturally wide, waiting. The ride stopped. Lydia's safety bar unlatched on its own. A voice, soft as silk, whispered in her ear, "Step out." Mark grabbed her arm. "Don't move. Don't." The shadows coiled around his throat. He choked, his body convulsing as the darkness seeped into his skin. His veins turned black, his eyes rolling back. Then he was gone. The voice came again. "Step out." Lydia shook her head violently, clutching the seat. "No, no." A sound like bones snapping filled the air. The figures of the missing passengers turned their heads all at once, jolting to face her, necks twisting at impossible angles. Their mouths opened, a black, endless abyss. They screamed. The force pulled at her, dragging her from the cart. The last thing she saw was the yawning void ahead, the empty, soulless eternity where the lost passengers now belonged. She fell. The world went black. Outside the ride, the carts emerged empty. The ride operator smiled, adjusting the controls. New faces stared at him from the flickering ride sign. Trapped in frozen, silent terror. A new group of fairgoers approached, laughing, excited for their turn. The operator reached for the lever. "No refunds," he murmured. The ride roared to life once more. The ghost train never stops. The lost passengers never return. And the carnival keeps welcoming new visitors, new victims. If you made it this far, you're one of the lucky ones. But beware. Next time you see a forgotten carnival ride at the edge of town, think twice before stepping inside. Was this just a story or something more? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more terrifying stories. More horrors are waiting. And next time, it might be you on the ride.